What is going on, YouTube people? New York Cards and Comics here today for another edition of the weekly sports card market update. Recording this Saturday afternoon in the middle of Topps Rip Night. I am looking at social, and there's just Topps Rip Night stuff all over Instagram and Twitter as I am recording this. I guess it's actually more early evening than afternoon. I was not able to make it out to a Rip Night tonight. I had some other commitments. I did go to a local show today. Broadview Heights, Ohio, about an 80 table show. I have another local show. The Canton show is on Sunday morning while you are all watching this. And then next weekend, I will be in Shipshewana for their new 2-day show. And then Sunday, there is another card show that is half sports, half Pokemon up in Cuyahoga Falls. Quite a few tables at that one. At Amedio and Sons is next Sunday, so 1 week from today. I hope to check that show out as well. We'll kind of see how Shipshewana goes and if I have any money left coming back from that. So very busy show weekends the next 2 weekends. I've said it a million times. I am very blessed in the area of the country that I live when it comes to card shows. They are all over the place, of all shapes and sizes. The Saturday show that I went to was slamming. Decent amount of Pokemon at that show. And once again, the Pokemon tables were way busier than the sports card tables. And it really wasn't, I mean, all the tables were fairly busy, but the Pokemon tables were 2 or 3 deep in some cases. Actually, I bought some raw Pokemon cards to send in for grading, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that show was packed. We'll see what tomorrow yields for my local Canton show. That one's about 15 minutes away from me, so we'll see what that one got. And I'm super excited to check out Ships 2.0 show next weekend. Before we dive too deep, shout out to channel partner COMC.com, your home for buying and selling, grading. You can do it all over there. I have a box cards putting together, working on a shipment to send out to them. I have a fun video. Well, I don't know about fun. I have a hell of a story from a recent COMC transaction that is going to be its own standalone video. I bought a card and sent it in for grading on COMC, and the results were interesting, to say the least. But we'll tease that one for an upcoming video. But if you're not using COMC, you really should be. It is a fantastic place, at least for me, to move some of my lower dollar cards that I just do not have time to mess around with. You guys have seen me do that for a while now, and I'm very close to getting another shipment off. I keep a little box on my desk, and I put things in it, and when it fills up, then it's time to wrap it up and ship it out, and this one's getting pretty close to full. Let's take a twirl through some news today, shall we? We'll start off with that. I got tagged in this post. Wax Takes kind of amplified this. I know a few other people have done videos on this already. There is a eBay seller that is essentially taking out of 99 Natkin patch cards and swapping them for much nicer looking patches, basically. I don't know what he's using to tear apart for the patches, but regardless, he is putting in patches that you would find in like one of ones and things like that and selling them on eBay. Now, he is disclosing. It's not in the listing title, but it is in the description. It is very clear that he is disclosing, what is going on here. These are all being sold for bin prices. It looks like I didn't see any auctions running for any. This is the seller here. He sold a bunch of stuff. And this brings up a interesting, I don't know if moral dilemma is the right word for it. Ethical dilemma, I guess, is probably more the more accurate phrase. The disclosure on it at first glance is like, okay, he's disclosing what, or she is disclosing what is going on here. They are saying that these are, I am taking these cards apart and basically putting them back together again. However they word that, it's clear what is going on, that you are not buying a pack pulled card. It did not look like, well, you're buying a pack pulled card, but it has been enhanced, is the terminology that this person is using. And that's all well, that on its face, that seems all well and good. The problem is not so much this sale, it's the downstream implications of what could happen here. Because even though this person's disclosing what's going on, what happens to the next person that buys it? Are they going to disclose it? Are they going to try to pass it off as being legit to an unsuspecting buyer? Are they going to send it into a grading company and a grading company not catch it? Because let's be honest, it is very hard. And, this is not necessarily a PSA issue, just in general. All the grading companies, I really don't know how they're supposed to catch a patch swapped card. Like, I get it. We're paying them for a service. I don't care what grading company it is. How are they supposed to know what the patch looked like in there when it was pack pulled? They have no way of knowing that. The manufacturers don't give them a visual guide to go off of. I wish they did, especially on high-end products. And maybe in some cases you have a general idea. But I have to imagine it's nearly impossible to catch a patch swap card. Maybe they have some weird little tips and tricks that they could use to find some stuff, but I think generally speaking, it's a problem area for them. And once again, justifiably so. It seems like it would be a nightmare to try to catch that stuff. So that's where I don't like this. On the initial front-facing quick glance, it's like, oh, okay, he's disclosing what he's doing, whatever. But then when you start to think about it and you're like, this could get real bad real quick. So where I ultimately land on this is I don't like it. Buyer beware out there as always. If you see a card numbered out of 99 and it has an insane patch, question it. That's the general rule of thumb here. I did see that Tiffany Cards was adding all of these to the altered card database. So they will show up in there, but most people aren't going to check that for a $50, Will Shipley card. Update to a video I did earlier this week, and really a 2-time update. I just don't have the other post pulled up. This is in relation to the video that I did about the breakers or Cards HQ breaker that got arrested or arrest warrant put out for him, and the Breaks and Takes Topps Series 1 Silver Pack and Jumbo Pack debacle. We have updates in both those. Let's start with the Cards HQ one. The guy that was accused put out an Instagram reel kind of walking through some stuff, basically saying he was innocent and he never stole from customers, but he was very choosy on his words, and there's been a lot of back and forth on what the arrest warrant says versus what Jeff is saying versus what the internet think. The whole thing's basically a mess from a communication standpoint. My gut tells me what happened here is the police and whoever wrote the warrant didn't necessarily understand cards and maybe worded things poorly. We'll see what this plays out in the legal system on that one. But I have a feeling if they're putting an arrest warrant out that they have a lot of evidence for it. So we'll see how that situation plays out. But I did just want to throw a little update out there that the person accused has made a response Instagram reel that floated around social earlier this week. The Breaks and Takes one, they posted a video up on their YouTube channel. You can find that over at Breaks and Takes, kind of responding to the whole situation, and then they walk you through everything. I did an okay job walking you through and showing you all the different angles. They do a little bit better job here, and they supply some even more additional information. And I actually think my initial gut reaction was, I don't know. Yes, stuff obviously went wrong. I don't think it was intentional. Watching this, I lean even more heavily into that camp, that someone ended up on camera that should not have been on camera, that was inexperienced. And that's the mistake. I mean, that's the company's fault. You put someone in that position to potentially fail, and then you deal with the consequences of it. But I do think the person was not prepped, was not supposed to be on camera. I mean, they walked through, it was basically a fill-in of a fill-in of a fill-in, but they wanted to run the break anyway, and this is what happened. Things went sideways. The guy got nervous. You could see when you watch the video, you could see right from the get that he is clearly nervous. You could tell when someone is nervous on camera, and you could tell right from the start of the break that he was. I am sure some people in the comment section will want blood on this one, but I actually think this one was a compounding error of mistakes. I buy that nothing nefarious, there was no nefarious intent here. Now, the optics are terrible. That's ultimately one of the problems here. At a quick glance, if you slice and dice it up, it looks real bad. When you watch the full thing play out, it's a little bit of a different story. And the other problem here is breakers, and justifiably so, in my opinion, are never going to get the benefit of the doubt. They're never, a large chunk of the hobby absolutely cannot stand breakers. And listen, I am no friend of breakers. And I still think there was no nefarious intent here. I think the mistake that was made was running the break in the first place when you didn't have the proper people to actually break the product. And because they did that, that sent things spiraling downwards, and they got caught up in this situation. Now, they made it right with all their customers, it sounds like, and all that. So I would encourage you, if you want more information, go watch the full video. It is laid out very, very well. Understand it is coming through their lens, so it's obviously going to be a little biased because it's them doing the video, kind of covering for themselves. But just based off what I saw here, what I saw on the initial coverage, I think the mistake that was made here was putting the breaker in that chair to begin with, because they were clearly not ready for prime time, and it blew up in their face. So a little bit of another update to that story as well. Moving along, this is not necessarily sports card related, but this is, I'll throw this in here. I did a video on it on the TCG channel. GameStop is discontinuing pre-orders for Pokemon product online and in store. You're going to have to go wait in line and line up. That is how wild Pokemon is right now. And part of the rumor on why this is going down is because they can't get enough product to do pre-orders online. It just doesn't make sense. So they're trying to drive foot traffic into the store. Pokemon continues to be an absolutely wild scene right now. Also on this is Pokemon related, but it's also Whatnot related, so I figured I would throw it in here. This is a giveaway, once again, good old Whatnot, that a Whatnot Rip and Shipper did, and someone won the giveaway that had never bought from them before, and I guess they were already in a pretty foul mood. So as you saw there, they crumpled up the packs, opened the pack, and it was a demigod pack with about $300 worth of cards in it that they destroyed because they were salty. I believe last I checked, this account was suspended. Some Topps news. Topps now is getting a revamp. New design, new foiling, and new numbering. I'm actually kind of a fan of this one. They're basically trying to, and this is where they caught some blowback for the black parallels in Series 1. They are trying to standardize their color schemes across the board, which I actually like. I think it should be that way. And this seems like them trying to get their ducks in a row before basketball and football come online. They want everything all nice and clean and equal. Like, I opened a John Kenzie Noel Topps Now pack, and I hit an orange parallel, and I saw the orange before I saw the numbering, so I assumed it was going to be out of 25. I was like, cool. When I pulled it back, it was actually out of 5, because they did their oranges out of 5. Usually reds are out of 5. So I like them doing this and kind of cleaning this up. They also announced Road to Opening Day is coming pretty soon, which is always a very popular Topps Now product. But a little bit of a redesign and some cleanup on some parallels. They also announced some new parallels if print runs hit certain numbers. That would probably only happen with some super crazy ones, but usually a couple a year get that high, as Topps Now continues to be a major, major product for them. Mentioned it earlier, as I am recording this, so last night for you all future people, Topps Rip Night went down. Like I said at the top, I was unable to attend, but I'll give Topps credit. We rag on them for a lot of stuff around here and the hobby in general, but Topps Rip Night has been an overwhelming success across the board, in my opinion. It is a great marketing tool. They get a ton of athletes out. I saw they had a bunch of WWE people out. A bunch of the baseball players are out in the spring training cities. I saw some NFL players. Jaden Daniels was at one. Celebrities were at one. Ruben was at a couple. Mike Mahan was at some. They have done an absolutely tremendous job with Topps Rip Night. Tons of kids at these things. Tons of crazy interactions with the athletes. Overall, I give them an A+ for Top Strip Night. They do it twice a year. I've gone to these events in the past. I went to Card Collector 2s last year. I was going to actually try to go to one local this year, but no one super local was running one. Closest one was about a half an hour, 45 minutes away. So I wasn't able to make it out to one. But if you did end up going to a Top Strip Night, fire away in the comments down below. With that being said, let's transition over and look at a little bit of charts and graphs today. The Wemby news was obviously one of the bigger things to happen this week. Wemby done for the season. Just doing a quick check-in on his card prices. As of right now, not much has happened. He is down ever so slightly. Market Movers average is at about 750. I have seen a few sneak down into the 730s. So it's definitely trending down, but there's definitely not a fire sale. This feels like it's going to be a slow trickle down, and it might take a week or two till we kind of see the real ramifications of him being done for the season. But I have to imagine this is going to creep down some. I think it gets back to the pre-off season prices, and then we'll just kind of see where it goes from there. But it looks like it's going to take a little bit of time for this thing to kind of figure itself out. Maybe we'll get more news from the Spurs as well. But that was probably one of the biggest on-court / on-field hobby stories of the year. I know it's early in 2025, but him being done for the season, not great. One Mr. Patrick Mahomes. The shill squad must have took a week off. His PSA 10 silver now down to 4.5, we'll call it 4.6. Okay. That's a 22% drop from pre-Super Bowl prices. We'll see if it levels out there or if it has another drop down. This thing was at 6K for a really long time. So pretty significant cutback for the old Mahomes Silver Prism and Mahomes stuff in general, as he was unable to get the job done against the Eagles, and they got absolutely smoked in that game. Baseball. Spring training actually started today. Juan Soto already has one spring training home run under his belt. I figured we would do a quick little pop-in on some baseball stuff. I pulled up some first Bowman PSA 10 non-refractors, just the base autos, just to see how these have been moving. And these are all since November 1st. So pretty much the entire off season. I was just curious to see who was up the most or if things were even going up at all. And spoilers, if you just loaded up on high profile first Bowmans in November, just like clockwork, you'd be doing pretty good today come end of February, early March. Soto up about 20%. Now he did get a little bit of a boost because of the Mets signing. Bobby Witt up 40%, one of the bigger increases overall. A lot of hype on him coming into this season. Ronald Acuna Jr. actually down 20% on his. Obviously coming back from the ACL injury. Probably will not start the season off the rip. I think he's going to be starting a little bit later, but we really don't know yet. He could get a little bit of a juice up if it ends up being revealed that he'll be ready to go for the start of the season, but I feel like he's not going to be. Paul Skeens up 52% on his first Bowman, up to 1.4K. J-Rod up about 20%. Very disappointing season for him last year. And Gunnar Henderson, one of the younger heavy hitters, up about 30% on his first Bowman PSA 10s. Looked at a lot of the mainline guys here. Maybe we'll do a separate video kind of looking at some of the more up-and-coming prospects, like the Jackson Merrills, the Churios, and then maybe go a level deeper with like the Spencer Jones and Dominguez's and guys like that to see where things have been moving over the last couple of months. But baseball season is basically here. Once spring training starts, that's when things, the Wild West begins. These random prospects do random things against, high school kids, and next thing you know, their card value spike to the moon and back again. Just remember, your window to sell is very, very narrow. Let's talk a little more WNBA Prism. Some interesting things going on in the Caitlin Clarks of it all. WNBA Prism boxes still sitting strong, just over $1,000. Regular NBA Prism boxes, not so much. I might do a separate video on NBA Prism later this week. That product is just not good. There is nothing good to chase in it, and it is ridiculously overpriced, and it is paralleled to death. WNBA Prism has obviously the Caitlin Clark effect. Checking in on her stuff. Now, this product is still pretty new. It's only been about a week, but no drops in prices. Her silver PSA 10. Her silver Prism Raw is still sitting at around $400. Her variation is also sitting around $400. So this year they've done this for the past couple. There is the regular base card, and then there is a variation. We're going to talk more on this in just a second. Actually, I'll pull it up right now. So these two basically are selling for essentially the same amount, about $400. When we come over here, the other two big chases, or popular players, I should say, are Angel Reese and Cameron Brink. Angel Reese's base prism or silver prism rather, is going for about $30. The variation is going for about $35. So once again, very close together. The Cameron Brink is going for about $35 and a silver, but her variation is selling for a lot more. It's that dark blue line. It's the most expensive of these four. And I found that intriguing. I was like, why is the Cameron Brink variation selling for so much more when all the other ones are basically in line with each other of these very popular players? And then I looked at the card, and Panini understood the assignment on this one. I get why that card is very popular. They did A+ photography on that one. That is probably going to be one of her more popular cards just based off the image alone. I will leave it at that. But that Cameron Brink card will probably be the one that retains value almost regardless of how she plays on the court. She's coming off an ACL injury as well. I don't know what her status is to start the season, but she was very, very popular last year. This popped up in one of the private Facebook groups that I'm in. Caitlin Clark, True Gold, Prism to 10, sold for $80,000 in a private/public sale. It's a private sale because it's not on any platform anywhere, but it's public because it's in a Facebook group. This is one of the more well-established private Facebook groups, so I assume this deal is legitimate. Everything seemed to go down without a hitch. Who knows? We'll see. But $80K. They were getting offers. It was a fun thread to kind of follow through and watch them get offers for $20K, $30K, $40K, $50K, and turning them down, and people just like jumping at another $10K until it looks like they found the number. But $80 grand for a Caitlin Clark True Gold Raw Prism rookie. Wild stuff. Now, at time of recording, the Big Victor 1/1 Nebula is ending later tonight, so I don't know what that ended up going for. That will be a very telling sell on what the market thinks of as high-end stuff. I don't know what the estimates are for that card before the injury, but it'll be interesting to see where that one ends. And you all know what that number is. I don't know what it is yet. I think as of time of recording, it was in the high 300,000s. I think it was around 380 last I looked. So we'll see where that one ends up as well. That is all I got for you boys and girls today. I got to get this edited and up, and then I got to get some rest. Another card show tomorrow. Busy week at work, and a very busy weekend next weekend at the ship show. So, as always, curious for your thoughts and comments down below. We will catch you boys and girls on the next one. Peace.